I was stealing the Black Panther and following him for the past 10 days, 10-15 days before that. It was chaos in the jungle. You could just feel like the forest was on fire that day. And he came and both of them looked together. That was the moment of that picture.
Whoever said passion takes you to places was absolutely right. This wildlife photographer Mithun fell in love with nature, birds, animals and everything around it at a young age. And since then it became a passion for him to photograph the creatures and share it with the world. But it was in the year 2020 when Mithun's pictures of the gorgeous Black Panther named Saaya and the leopardess named Cleopatra went viral on social media. And that's when people got to know how beautiful the wildlife world is.
Hi, this is Mithun and I am here to talk about my journey into the wild. I was born and brought up in the jungles of South India in a beautiful place called as Dandeli. My father was a forest officer and that's how my journey began at a very young age. All I wanted to do was go out there in the midst of nature, look out for the animals, little birds, and I was fascinated by them. But as the passion kept growing, I had a little fascination for leopards. And Cleopatra was one of the first leopards that I encountered way back in 2008. She was a beautiful leopardess, a young cub, about a year and a half old then. Saaya came into my life in 2014 and he was the first ever record of a black leopard in Kabini.
After 10 years of being into wildlife photography, Mithun was offered a documentary called The Real Black Panther by National Geographic Channel, and it was like a dream come true for him.
The fact that you could actually be with an animal the whole day, from morning 6 till evening 6, completely following their lives. So it was the first ever documentary made on the Black Panther. And I was absolutely privileged to be part of it for sure.
Mithun is not just a photographer, but also a keen observer. He read a lot about animal behavior which helped him understand to click these two creatures at their best. He stayed in the jungle for a few days along with the team to get that perfect shot of this eternal couple. Well, we didn't call them the eternal couple, but Mithun did.
I was stealing the Black Panther and following him for the past 10 days, 10-15 days before that. And just as they began to court, I had a glimpse of Saaya and Cleopatra together, and then they entered into a patch of jungle which was inaccessible, and they made a huge sambar kill right by a beautiful stream, and I knew they wouldn't move for the next few days. The only time they would move was when their kill was over and he would need to visit the other part of his territory to patrol and to mark and stuff like that. So it was a waiting game. It could be a wait of 3 days, 4 days, 5 days, you never know. It depended on the size of the kill. And finally, after a week of waiting in the same area, they both emerged to deafening alarm calls from the langur and the spotted deer. It was chaos in the jungle. You could just feel like the forest was on fire that day. And it was Cleopatra first who emerged and then followed by the Black Panther Saaya. And usually in the mating couples, it's always the male who takes the lead, followed by the females. But in this one, it was Cleopatra who was taking the lead, and that's when she stopped to wait for him, and he came and both of them looked together. That was the moment of that picture. The pairing was just something eternal and something made in heaven, and that's why the name Eternal Couple.
This majestic picture clicked by Mithun went so viral in 2020 that he became an internet sensation in no time.
every day in wildlife photography, it is exciting, it is something new, I get to learn something new, and it's different. Talking about exciting encounters, there have been many over the last few years, but one that definitely comes to my mind is this amazing instance of an elephant herd, about 18 strong, and who had a pregnant female who was ready to give birth at any moment. And sensing this, there was a huge male tiger, one of my favorites called Yuko, who was tailing this herd for the last 2 days. When the actual moment of delivering the baby came, this entire herd formed a wall around the female, which would actually protect the baby and the female from this vulnerable time. And one of them was actually in charge of driving away the male tiger away from the spot so that the baby would be safe for the next 1 hour. And it was absolutely amazing and so touching to see that love and that bond in that family in the jungle. In India itself, I've been to Central India, which is like the Tiger Central of India, Ranthambore in the west, Kaziranga, for the one-horned rhinoceros, and of course the birds in Arunachal, in Nagaland, the Terai tiger in Uttarakhand, Corbett, lots of other places. Bharatpur for birds, for instance. But my heart always is in South India because that's where I grew up here. Wildlife photography definitely comes with a hint of danger, I would say. It's not as people imagine that we're in the midst of wild animals and they attack you and you're always in danger. Absolutely not. You're in the safest environment. As long as you respect nature, as long as you know that you're in their land and you have to abide by their rules, you're absolutely fine. And there's no danger as such. I've never taken any precautionary measures. I always make sure I give the right distance, the right respect to the animals.
So to all the aspiring wildlife photographers and nature enthusiasts, Mithun has something to say about his learnings which you can also take note of.
I mean, nature has taught me so many things in these years, and for sure, it's survival of the fittest and raw, but it's beautiful and lovely and absolutely amazing at the same time. And something that I love about this is the element of surprise. You could plan a shoot for a week, 10 days, you could sit in a hide, you could wait for hours together, and you could literally come back with nothing. Or you might come back with something completely different that you had not expected before. And that's where you have to be thinking on your feet, ready with your settings, and be ready to capture a moment, because all you get is a fraction of a second in wildlife photography to make or break an image.